So we are at Belfast. Show information on Belfast. Weather. Wind 20 knots, that'll be why. This is going to be interesting, isn't it? So zoom in on Belfast. So we can go runway 22, I guess. Yeah, it's not very fun, is it? Let's just check the volume levels. Yeah, it's gone really quiet again. This is Windows being an absolute pain in the so-and-so. I haven't touched the recording settings of Windows since yesterday, and it's gone and reset everything. That's on 100%. So it must be okay, so is this still working? This is the absolute hell I go through. Usually you don't see this, you see 10 minutes of me scratching my head and threatening to put an axe through the computer. This is at 100 volume on the correct device, 100% volume. It's mad, isn't it? And yet the volume level, and look, it's suddenly changed. Completely out of the blue, it's suddenly changed. Absolutely insane. So I didn't change anything. All I did was went into the dialogue and came back out. Anyway. Master battery on. That's the flaps you can hear moving into position as we turn the power on. And we'll put the fuel to left. We'll go and put some extra fuel in it. Take it up to 75%. I don't need a passenger, so I'm going to go and get rid of my passenger. We go for a rich mixture and propeller to maximum. Okay.
Clear prop.
Okay, so I think we agreed I need to double back on myself to take off then. Whoa, I'm going full left lock to hold it on the yellow line. The wind is trying to force the aeroplane all over the place. Now full right lock to hold it straight along this taxiway. So we're not going to need a long runway, so I'm going to go from the intersection. Hopefully it's not going to be so windy down the coast, otherwise we will change the weather. Let's put the parking brake on for a second. Strobe lights, landing lights, taxi lights, might as well have all the lights on. Oh, that wind is really throwing us around. Okay, this is Belfast. I haven't got any custom scenery, so the shipyards are not going to be as detailed as they might be. Look at the weather, look at the wind on the waves, it's ridiculous. Turn back over the top of the docks. Turn downwind. So this is the museum, isn't it? With the angular shapes. Yeah, and there's the old buildings along here somewhere. We have got the lights on, but they're not really doing much in the daytime, are they? Okay, let's just turn the volume down a little bit in my room. So we're going to turn left. Let's have a look at the map. So we are heading out towards Londonderry first. So we're going to head off across the hills. Aidan says good afternoon. Good afternoon. RPM down a bit, we're going a bit quick. So the water over here, let's just put this in autopilot so we can have a think while we're flying along. So we'll go and set the heading by the same direction we're going before the airplane starts turning too much. So heading mode. Autopilot on, so you can see the indication up here. We'll go for altitude hold. We'll actually push the altitude up a little bit, so we want to go here, so it's 2,500 feet. It's doing that automatically, which is good. Okay, so we don't have to worry about flying the airplane now. We can do some sightseeing. So, the bay we're just coming past, let's make this narrower so we don't see more than we need to. This is Loch Nee, I guess that's pronounced. I'm not going to try with half of the Irish place names because I know what Irish family names are like, and yeah, not combinations of letters that we see in England very often at all. I work with a guy from Ireland and he often laughs at our attempts to pronounce some of their names. I have got a mug of coffee, if you were wondering. Look at this thing going sideways across the hills, like, you can see it. Tracking. So, what does this give us in terms of distance and estimated time en route, and ground speed and track? So 36 miles to run until we get to Londonderry, 11 minutes away. It does. They appear to have fixed the tiling issue that's been cropping up a little bit recently. Of course, that's famous last words. It will start doing it, won't it, in a moment? So, Emily, first time being on the channel. Welcome. So we're flying between Belfast and Londonderry at the moment. So we've got the plane on autopilot. Off. We don't need the landing lights on. Should we have a look and see if there are many people around us? If I go and switch on some of that data. There's a few people around. How are we doing for speed? 170 knots. That's well within limits, but it's pretty quick, isn't it, as an aeroplane? So the green area on manifold pressure, we're up towards the top end of it. RPM, we're up towards the top end, so we're pushing it along a little bit. You can see we're on top of the magenta line now, so we could go nav mode. It's on the wrong CDI mode though, there we go. So it's in GPS mode, autopilot, so it's going to correct for the track, because we're on top of the track anyway. Okay, let's have a look at some of the place names of the places we're flying past at the moment. I'll just go and open window layout to minimal to get rid of all the borders, and also get rid of the Windows taskbar. There we go. And then make this small. So Castle Dawson is off to our left, and I guess it's going to be difficult to make anything out, isn't it, from this height, but So we've got this area, the Sperrin area of outstanding natural beauty is coming up. I'm guessing that's part of it over here, but it's over there as well. The big hills. Sam says, can I join you on multiplayer? Of course you can. I am on the West Europe server. If I go and run transmitter as well, if you are using transmitter, you'll be able to see where I am. Where is it? Transmitter. So if I disconnect that, change the server name to the one I'm actually on, give myself a name, and connect. Beautiful day today. Absolutely amazing weather. Okay, so the hills are slowly drawing closer. Let's have a quick look at the map. So about to pass Donegal after this first hill, and then we'll be almost straight into the city of Derry airport. From outside as we zoom along. So Tim Miller is asking, how is the flight modelling of this aeroplane? Well, I think it's very good. If I come off autopilot, it's kind of semi-aerobatic. It's an experimental aircraft. So you'll see that, you know, it's got great big labels saying as much. So yeah, we can do crazy stuff in it if we really want to. FS Realistic doesn't like doing things like that. It rolls really nicely, as you can see. And it's quite sharp on the controls. In terms of stalling, let's try it. So low power stall, keep the wings level, feed in the back stick. There goes the stall warning. It's very docile. If you hold it back in the elevator, it will try to spin a little bit. We'll just put it back out of that. Co-pilot isn't very happy with me, is he? He's almost chucking up, I think. Let's get back on our track. If we get a bit more height, I'll see if it will spin. If I take it back up to, say, 5,000 feet or so, coming up through 2.5. Just leaning the engine out a little bit. back round. While we're climbing. Okay, we'll just wait for at least 5,000 feet. What's the ground level around here? Let's go and check. Wrong program. There we go. So, if we check this airfield over here, interesting. Why hasn't that got an elevation? City of Derry will have 23 feet. Obviously, yeah, it's not far above sea level. So we actually have got 5,000 feet. Let's get that out of the way. Five and a half thousand feet now. Right, let's do a spin test then. So I'm going to go full left rudder as soon as the stall warning goes. And hold it back. We've got full elevator, full left rudder. And yeah, it's just mushing downwards. So it's almost unspinnable. We'll go the other way, see what happens. I wonder if it will do it with power, with the thrust over the rudder. So it doesn't want to fall in that way, but yeah, let's just let it out of it. So it's almost unspinnable by the look of it. So let's do a powered stall. And full power into the stall at a high climb angle, so we've got about 35 degrees on the attitude indicator. No, it still won't do it though. It's absolutely refusing. Okay, we'll go and get on with this now. And clean up the carrot chunks from the co-pilot. But yeah, it's an immensely strong aircraft, and you can see it's almost like a pattern aerobatic shape. So you can play all sorts of silly games with. You can see how sharp it is on the controls. It's almost no momentum. Looks like a DA62 is coming in behind us. So if we zoom out on this, we should see we're heading straight towards the airfield, which is over here somewhere. And of course the weather arrives to greet us. think in the real world the RV14 is kind of famous for fuel economy as well. You can fly, you know, a very long way very easily in it. Yeah, you don't want to dogfight me in an RV14. I'll turn circles around you. It is ridiculously manoeuvrable. The only hope a DA62 would have is outrunning me, really. Although saying that, if I go flat out, it'll probably do 180 knots. Okay, let's have a look around. Going straight towards the airfield. It's down here, isn't it? So, given the wind today is from the south at 30 knots, oh my word, what's the wind on the ground? 15 knots, 160 degrees. So we'll just about get away with a touch and go. So essentially what we're going to do here is do a 90-degree turn to come in on the unused runway that we shouldn't be using. Otherwise we'll have no hope. We don't dare use this runway because the crosswind will just kill us. We'll get blown into the grass at the right hand side of the runway. It's a bit windy, isn't it? Reverend Nicholas Johnson just came in from attending a funeral, checking in on you. We are somewhere over Ireland. We're just approaching Londonderry in the RV14. It's a windy day. And after Londonderry, we're heading off around the west coast. So we're going to do a touch and go on this disused runway because it's the only one that suits us for this. Oh, did I not turn the generators on? I didn't turn the alternators on. Whoops. Thankfully the engine was still running. It's going to be the fastest touch and go in history. I'll see if I can bleed some speed off along the runway. 120 knots. It's not losing speed in a hurry, is it? Doing a no flaps touch and go, but we're going to run out of runway to do it. Let's just touch it down gently here. Crazy windy day. Okay, so we are going to head west, so we'll turn left. Actually, no, we want to go right, don't we? We'll circle anyway. This means that we at least get to see the harbour and the bay a little bit more. Londonderry. And Derry, I guess. So if you go and look at the map here, got Eglinton, which is just what we're seeing off our left wing. And further over, we'll go over there. So that's Eglinton. If we go further over this way, we'll see Derry before we leave. Anthony is saying, is that Shannon Airport? No, Shannon's way down in the south. We will be there later, but it won't be for a couple of hours yet, probably. It's a long way away. You can see I'm being blown all over the place. It's a windy day. So if you look at the map, we're just coming down towards Londonderry to have a look. Well, we're trying to, but we're being blown sideways. I'm going to change the weather, this is just ridiculous. Let's go for few clouds instead. So it will calm the wind out. Yeah, you can see that we're not being thrown around now. There's a scenery anomaly here with the bridge look. They've messed that up spectacularly. Other than that though, it looks quite good, doesn't it? Obviously it's just generic building shapes, it's not using any custom scenery to do it, which is a bit of a shame. First stop is the Guinness Brewery. I think that's the first stop for lots of people when they go to visit Ireland. Just trimming the elevators. Okay, so we're heading back towards our track. And we're off to Donegal next. So we're going to go and go swooping off across these hills. So what I'll do is go and set the altimeter. We've got 2500 on the target anyway. So go and put the altitude, put that on, put your damper on GPS, so it's going to intercept the GPS track. It's climbing back to 2500 feet all on its own. Doing a pretty good job of it actually. Let's speed up a bit. Let's go and zoom out on this one as well, so we can see the entire leg. There we go. We could put this on full scrap size, couldn't we? So this one's obviously north facing, this one's track oriented. It's all very clever stuff, isn't it? And we've got the DA62 that's been accompanying us. Just doing a course correction by the look of it. Watching from Rhode Island, USA, Panther 409. Greetings from England. And from Ireland. Okay, so we're on the track towards Donegal. We've got 10 minutes estimated, 30 miles away. We're doing 170 knots, just under. So zooming along. 2,500 feet. Should be good. Wichita, Kansas. Oh my word. Heading into cloud. Shouldn't be in it for too long. Should we see what the live weather's doing? It's probably still just as windy, isn't it? Yes. It's more fun with the wind though, isn't it? You have to think a bit rather than just fly in a straight line. Whoa, look at the water down here. It's pretty impressive, isn't it? So that is a Ramilton. Very cool. Next body of water coming up is Lough Fern and Lake Keel. Lough Salt. I'm not going to try and pronounce that. I'll get it wrong, and the Irish people that happen upon this will laugh their head off. It's going to get a bit more hilly as we make our way down the west coast. I'm not sure if the cliffs have been modelled. That's a bit further south yet though. Danny Boy says good evening. So actually it's just 4:30 here. Oh, that would explain why the cats have just turned up meowing at me because they're hungry. Just going to go and feed them while we race towards the hills. Hopefully I'll get back before we slam into one. forwards and back. It's a bit more interesting here, isn't it? So you can see the altitude plot is starting to appear on the chart, which is good. Got 5 minutes to go, 14 miles to go through these hills, so I'm going to come off of autopilot. Let's go on a bit of an explore, shall we, across the hilltops. I like the sounds that FS Realistic makes. Very funny. Keep an eye out for telegraph poles, eh? That's interesting. Is that a sandbar out there? Should we go and have a look? Just have a quick run out this way for a couple of minutes. Just have a look at this. This looks interesting. And we'll go around the headland to get into where we were going. Get some altitude. Just watching the indicated airspeed as we climb. Yeah, it's got sand look just underneath the surface. Very cool. So this bay... Oh, I'm not going to try and pronounce it. Gortahawk, but it's probably not correct. Very Very cool. Right, let's turn back in. On our way into Donegal. We're going the correct direction for the wind anyway, for the runway. So there's a bit of a how do you put it, detour. Apparently I've just read a notification there's a new version of the Mad Dog available, so I'll probably be doing a video with that later. Do a flight with it. It's the MD-82, 83 and 88 if you're wondering. So you can see the runway down here. So I'll start coming off the power, start descending. So, Ibad Khan is saying, which PMDG is your favourite? I don't really mind any of them. I think maybe the 737-800. The 900 is fun purely because it's so big and heavy. You have to be a lot more careful than the others. But they're all different to each other. So the 600 is a lot lighter. This is going to be another quick one unless I arrest some speed. Whoa! Just do you see that loose lift then? I just threw it into a side slip, and obviously with this strong headwind it threw the plane all over the place. There we go. Just getting the speed under control really. That's mad. That crosswind just suddenly picked up in speed. and it suddenly died away again. Like, that's incredible. I've never seen that happen in the sim before. It's like wind shear twice. Obviously you wouldn't have landed in the real world, you would have gone round. And again. Oh my word. That's good fun. I almost want to go around again to see if I can see it happen again. Let's do it. Let's go round. So I'm using the side slip technique where you side slip into the left wing down, right rudder to keep it straight on the runway direction so you can crab at the same time. Which is a lot happier, look. Whoa, when I came off the rudder then, it almost went again. Look at the windsock. That's hilarious. I'm going to get off the ground. It's much safer to be in the air, I think. Okay, so next leg. So we should be able to go autopilot on. We're in GPS mode, so it's going to follow the track and climb out to 2,500 feet. So that was Donegal. Now going down to 47 miles down to Sligo. So we take it out to 5,000 feet, so we get to actually see some distance. So to do that, we will need to change the target altitude. And it would probably make sense. I mean, I think this is doing indicated airspeed mode. It is now. So the indicated airspeed mode, if you weren't aware, you get to set a speed bug and you can use that to regulate how steep you climb. The other way to do it would be vertical speed, where you set the vertical speed, so you could set like 1,000 feet a minute here by using the roller. But you have to be mindful of your indicated airspeed. So we'll come through 3,000 feet, so I'm pulling the mixture back to... It's interesting, that mixture lever didn't move. Interesting. Does that mean it's not configured? Oh, that's the flaps, I'm being an idiot. There we go. confusing the levers in the cockpit now. Yeah, the second approach I did into Donegal, I didn't have anywhere near as much turbulence. That was a bit strange, wasn't it? So 4,200 feet and climbing up to 5,000. Hopefully we'll come out of the clouds in a few moments. Because we've got such a long way to go, shall we take it straight up to say 7.5? And we'll get, although I think the clouds are quite a bit higher than that. I was going to say to be on top of them, but I don't think we'll get there. So we'll let this get to 5,000 and level out and then speed up. I was saying that, let's take it up to 7.5. So just adjusting the target altitude. And let's do it in vertical speed mode. Just to do it in an expeditious manner. 1,000 feet a minute, it will easily hold that in this aeroplane. Oh, the sim's frozen. It is bizarre when it freezes. There it goes, look. It will have reset the multiplayer when that happened. There's still lots and lots of bugs in this simulator. Some of it may be to do with threading. So, just to give you an idea where we are, we're just coming across the bay here. It's quite a long way to get to Sligo. Should do this from outside while we're en route. En route, I'm going to go and grab a coffee. I'm just checking the indicated airspeed. So we've got 1,000 feet to go, or 900 feet to go. I'm going to take the vertical speed down a little bit, just to make sure we don't get in trouble. So we're now climbing 700 feet a minute. Yeah, it's gently accelerating, which is good. We'll lean it out further. So Arjun is saying, hey, I always miss my waypoints in X-Plane 11. Do you mean? I think you mean miss your waypoints. Got any advice for that? I haven't played X-Plane for a long time. I removed it when Flight Sim came out. And before that I'd flown it, continuously for several years. Good question though. Without seeing what you're doing and where you're going wrong, it's very difficult to say, to be honest. 7,500 feet up in the clouds. So we've got 13 minutes until we get to the destination. So that's 30 miles away. GPS. So should we zoom out so we can see it on this map as well? Can always zoom back in later. There we go. So the next airfield is Sligo. I don't know how far around this route we'll get today. We'll see. We'll probably get as far as Galway before we call it a day, and then we'll do the second leg another day. Yeah, Sam's pretty much saying the same story as me. Had to explain, removed it when Flight Sim came out. I also had Prepare 3D, removed that as well. I had Prepare 3D version 5, I had Aerobatic scenery for it. I'd sunk quite a lot of money into it and I got rid of it all. I had quite a lot of add-ons for X-Plane as well, got rid of it all. Had the, what was it called, Active Sky or something? I had the Aerosoft Airbus for Prepare 3D that used to crash it reliably every time. His memory management was appalling, wasn't it? Yeah, just reading Arjun's comment there, that was the same reason that I stayed with X-Plane for a long time. It was only once I got a newer computer that I could use Flight Sim. And I started recording a few videos now and again to show friends, and that's how this channel happened by accident. It's funny, I've been thinking about recording some other stuff on the live streams, like messing around with the Formula 1 game or stuff like that, but I think I may lose an awful lot of subscribers if I did that. I've been wondering about doing a series though, doing an around the world as a series of videos, and like, you know, chunking it into like hour flights or something. I have no idea how many hours it would take to fly around the world in a light aircraft. I'm going to make a coffee while we are cruising across this bay here. I'll put on the outside view so people can see where we are. I'll put LittleNavMap up as well. We're in between Donegal and Sligo at the moment. Back in a few moments. welcome back. So Express Sports is saying you could do an F1 series where in between you fly from city to city in between the races. That would be funny, wouldn't it? So fly to the city where the race is and then do the practice sessions. That's not a bad idea. I was looking earlier at buying F1 2023. It's quite expensive though. I'm not sure how many people would watch it. Maybe I should post in the community part of the YouTube channel. Say, would anybody mind if I made an absolute fool of myself in the Formula 1 game? Because I haven't got wheel and pedals. So I'd have to use an Xbox controller. But many, many years ago, I used to play the racing car games a lot. So I have no idea how rusty I would have become. Right, let's go and switch tanks. I've just remembered. So we're down to low on the left tank. We're going to be using the right tank until we get to Galway by the look of it. It's a wonder we haven't got a balance problem going on. That may have been part of the cause of the instability, actually, thinking about it on that last approach. The wind just caught me right, I've got a light left wing. Maybe that was the cause of it being so unstable. Makes sense, doesn't it? So Express Sports is saying F1 23 is a lot of fun. If nothing else, you should get it for yourself to play if it goes on sale. Maybe. I wouldn't need much talking into it, to be honest. To be honest, it'd be good fun just to live stream the practice sessions and everything, so everybody could have a good laugh. See me trying to get my lap time down or stacking the car repeatedly. I guess without a wheel and pedals you wouldn't be able to play it on maximum difficulty at all, would you? Because you wouldn't have the consistency. These hills look spectacular, don't they? Right, we need to start descending. So we are going to go and pull the throttle back, set the maximum altitude. Oh, look at that. So it's trying to descend all on its own. We'll go for 2,000 feet. And it's coming down at 1,000 feet a minute. So who told it to do that? It's still decelerating though, so we could go indicated airspeed mode and let it fall at 120 knots. So if I pull the engine back to idle to hold 120 knots, what will it descend at then? At 2,000 feet a minute, maybe? At 1750 then, but look at 1800. Okay. Let's zoom back in. So the airport is just the other side of here. Those hills are spectacular, aren't they? I visited Ireland when I was younger. We went down, we've been to the Ennis area, so a friend comes from Ennis. We've been all along this coast. And obviously I stayed many years ago around Kerry and the Donegal Peninsula down there. That was amazing. So if we put this on vertical speed mode and let it descend at 1,000 feet a minute and let it accelerate. Thicken the mixture back up. Disco Dave has appeared somewhere. That'll be him over there, just swooping in. So as you can see, we are approaching Sligo, so we're going to have major problems here with the wind because it's exposed to the elements. We get 13 knots gusting 24, 150 degrees, so we're going to go for runway 10, but the chances of getting down are slim. So what we're going to do is go to heading mode and take ourselves out into the bay. Hello. Daughters are back. We've been out for the day. Heading mode. So we're in heading mode now. Plane is tracking right, which will give us an offset to turn in towards the airport, which is over there by the look of it. A bit more. So just coming down towards 2,000 feet and levelling out, hopefully. Yeah, the vertical speed is being reduced. As you can see, we're just heading out this way and then we'll turn in. The autopilot. All the finger marks on the plexiglass. Right, so here's the airfield. Dive is what happens when you look over your shoulder at your daughter who comes into the room and says, "Are you doing a YouTube video?" And you nearly crash the plane instantly. So somebody wants an ILS on a 737-800. I thought I did some videos with ILS in the 737s, but
500.
So we'll try and do this without flaps because of the wind. That gusting is pretty wicked, isn't it? That'll do. I'm getting in the air again. Look at that. Whoa. That's the instability with the light wing again. That's madness. Absolute madness. Okay, off towards Galway. So this is Sligo. This hill's impressive, isn't it? Whoa! Downdraft. I hadn't thought about that. Nearly got pushed into the hillside. This is an RV14, if you're wondering. But it's being thrown all over the place. We've got like 20, 30 knot winds. It's crazy. They're gusting as well. Okay, let's put the autopilot back on nav mode and engage it. We're at 2,000 feet, or nearly, so it's just taking the airplane up to 2,000. Connaught and then Galway. So 24 miles to Connaught won't take very long at all. So yeah, 7 minutes. I'll be back in a moment. Right, I'm back. Whoa, look at the rain coming down over there. So much other severe weather around. Let's just have a look at the wind at Connaught. Is it even worth trying to land there? Oh my word, 17 knots gusting 28 knots. That's madness. 160 degrees, so that's the exact... Oh my word, that's a vicious crosswind. What are our chances at Oh my word, Galway's the same direction. 21 gusting 31, there's no way we can land. Where's the nearest airfield where we can... We'll just do our best. Maybe we try and put it down at Connaught and say that's enough for today, thank you very much. We might have to have a couple of attempts. Is the RV14 worth it? Yes, it's very, very good. The flight model's fantastic. The systems modelling, it's quite simple inside, but it's got, you know, a really nice set of digital instruments. If you like steam gauges, you won't like the RV14. It's a modern aeroplane. But I like it. It's great fun for flying around. But my problem today is I'm going to have to deal with a 20 knot crosswind at Connaught to land. But it is gusting though. So there we have got a chance. What's the wind again? 17, it's not gusting anymore, like 160, 17 knots. So it's going to be right on the limit, really. So we could go for runway 26 then, and hope for the best. So I think we'll put it on the ground at Connaught and call it for the day. We should be there in about 3 minutes, just under 4 minutes. So we're 9 miles out, doing 160 knots. Fingers crossed, hey? And then I may well find myself, once I've landed, sneaking off to go and get Formula 123. And then you might see a live stream of me doing a practice session in a Formula 1 car for the first time in many, many years. I've no idea how well I'll get on. I guess the natural place to do a test would be Silverstone, given this weekend, wouldn't it? With the Formula 1 circus going to Silverstone. Okay, where's the airfield then? Let's all look for a runway. We are 4 miles away. I should be able to see it by now usually. Is this it over here? I think it might be. Yeah, just looking at Calazzo 123, that it'll be worth looking, won't it, to see where the storms are in the UK the next few days. It'll be good fun. Go storm chasing in the simulator. Okay, so we've got the airfield here, so let's come off the autopilot. So our major problem with this plane is it doesn't weigh anything. So if we get much in the way of turbulence on approach, it could spell major problems for us. But given how severe the weather is, and that Galway's far worse than here, I'm inclined to put the plane down here and stop the live stream for today, because otherwise it's just going to become comical. So we'll use the full length of the runway if we need to, and we'll go round if we need to as well. We're not going to be brave or stupid. You can see the plane being pushed sideways already. So we're going to turn into the crosswind. Hold the plane on the... Whoa, look at the gusting. It's got almost full right rudder going on. No, the wind's trying to get under the wing. We just kept it on the runway. Oh my word. That was dangerous. Yeah, new underpants job, I think. If that had been the real world. I don't think this is a taxiway somehow, or it's not modelled properly, maybe. It's being pushed back onto the runway. Look, the wind is turning the plane hilariously. It's just weathercocking alarmingly into the wind. At least I don't have to use any throttle to roll in, I'm just being blown along. Literally, I cut the throttle some time ago. I'm being blown along like a kite. That's quite amusing. Right, wheel brakes. Slide. I guess at this point they get the tie downs out and lash the aeroplane to the floor. There you go. I've forgotten how you open the canopy on this. It's got some release levers, hasn't it? Is that one of them? And then you can do that. There you go. I think you can get through the side of it as well. No, you can't. It's got clipping at the sides. But there you go. That's the Vans RV14A. The A model has tricycle undercarriage. The RV14 is a tail dragger, which would have been even more fun today. But yeah, it's a great little aeroplane. It's really well modelled. It's got a great flight model. Right, I'm going to leave it there, and I'll carry on the journey around Ireland another day. But I may go and sneak off and get the Formula 1 game later. We'll see. Okay, take care. See you all soon. And I'll look into doing an ILS video with the big jets. Maybe I'll do a journey that requires ILS. Anyway, see you soon.